Distinguishing science from pseudoscience. This is a quick one. From the Department of Psychology, Simon Fraser University. It's saying that basically this is the introduction, but before that it says knowledge consists in understanding the evidence that establishes the fact, not in the belief that it is a fact. The prestige and influence of science in this century is so great that very few fields outside of religion or the arts wish to be seen as overtly unscientific. As a result, many endeavours that lack the essential characteristics of a science have begun to masquerade as one in order to enhance their economical, social and political status. Well, in my opinion, that's the globe earth and the heliocentric model. It's done for economic, social and political reasons. Yeah. While these pseudosciences are at pains to resemble genuine sciences on the surface, closer examination of their contents, methods and attitudes reveals them to be mere parodies. The roots of most pseudosciences are traceable to ancient magical beliefs, but their devotees typically play this down as they adopt the outward appearance of scientific rigour. Analysis of the perspectives and practices of these scientific pursuers is likely to expose a mystical worldview that has merely been restated in scientific-sounding jargon. Pseudosciences are characterized by non-reproducible findings that are allegedly mediated by forces unmeasurable by conventional scientific methods. Critics' failures to validate these claims are frequently dismissed. So we're trying to validate their claims and we're critiquing their claim of the heliocentric model, and we're failing to validate their claims. And we're being dismissed with the self-serving assertion that the results are obtainable only by those who share the pseudoscientists' beliefs. And there's the word belief again. You shouldn't have belief. This is why belief and arcane skills. Before considering some examples and criteria, let's distinguishing pseudosciences from real sciences, a few definitions are in order. Science is systemized knowledge derived from observation, study and experimentation. There's a lot of that going on at the minute in this topic. A lot of observation, study and experimentation. I'm doing my own observations, my own study, my own experimentation. Thus it deals only with phenomena that can be examined empirically. Contrary to popular opinion, it is not a grab bag of immutable facts, but rather a way of asking questions and evaluating various possible answers. And that's what I'm doing myself, and people like me are doing. We're asking questions and evaluating various possible answers. The objective is to describe the makeup of the physical, it says universe, but I'd just say keep to the ground on what we stand upon, the oceans, the ground. Looking up at the sky is not going to give you measurable proof of the shape of the earth. Looking up at the sky and seeing circles in the sky and lights in the sky is like looking up at your light bulb in your living room and saying, well, it looks roughly spherical, so the floor must be spherical. Or the pool ball's not pool table, that's spherical. That must mean the table's spherical. You know what I mean? So looking up at the sky is not going to give you nothing. That's like doing one of those things. Like a good way of putting it as well is like you want to measure your table, you don't look at your curtains and measure your curtains to measure your table. Or you don't look out into your garden to measure the contents of your room, do you? So you want to keep it down to the earth, to the ground on which you walk upon, and the underlying principles that govern activities therein. In the process, scientists attempt to agree upon a limited number of constituents that combine to produce the complexity, the natural domain, and to derive a set of laws that describe the interactions among those components. Well, it doesn't have to be complex. Why does it have to be complex? Just think Occam's razor. The thing with the least moving parts, so to speak, is usually the correct one. So it doesn't have to be complex. It can be simple. It can be KISS. We can keep it simple, stupid. These are scientific observations that are carried out under controlled conditions in order to minimise the impact of researchers' biases and expectations, as well as random influences from the environment. Well, we get a lot of random influences from the environment. We're doing observations over water, so we can get an idea of, and we can say, look, well, we shouldn't be able to see that, and all this sort of stuff. which gives us the evidence that we need to say, well, look, you know what I mean, it can't be what they tell us it is. But there is a lot of atmospheric conditions and all the other stuff that's going on there in the atmosphere, so it can differ from time to time when you go and do the observations. Public accessibility of methods and findings and sceptical evaluations of results are paramount requirements in the scientific community. So where you having sceptical evaluations of the results, but they're being censored and they're not being put out there, so that basically shows that it's not science as well. Single experiments practically never settle an important scientific, it says debate, but I'd call it discussion. It is the preponderance of evidence among researchers in the field and must be able to replicate each other's findings that determines the currently accepted explanation for any given phenomenon. Well, it shouldn't be an explanation, because you can go to any religion and get explanations all day long. You want the proof. You don't want explanations. You need it to be shown to you practically using tangible substance. Yeah. Otherwise, like it says there, it's just an explanation, which is religion to me. Which is a religion, because you can go to any religion and get explanations all day long. Yeah. It says, in carrying out this disciplined examination of the natural world, scientists attempt to generalise. We shouldn't be generalising. Yeah. You should be finding out exactly what it is and saying, well, that's exactly what that is. So we're not going to generalise. We know all about that bit, right? Pseudosciences are fields that try to appropriate the prestige of genuine sciences and copy their outward trappings and protocols, but fall far short of accepted standards of practice and verification in the legitimate fields they seek to emulate. Pseudosciences do not value, it says debate, but I'd say discussion and criticism, and rarely show intellectual ferment or genuine progress. Their explanations are usually contradicted by the scientific knowledge that we're getting. I mean, we're putting out experimentation and observations and everything else, and it's contradicting what they're saying, basically. And it says their own findings, which is the heliocentric model of globe Earth, rarely, if ever, withstand scrutiny by competent critics. And it's not withstanding scrutiny. It's falling apart at every turn. And then we've got a bit about technologies are processes that utilise the knowledge derived from basic research in applied science, usually commercial settings. Medicine is applied biological science. Mechanical engineering employs the principles of physical mechanics to create useful machines, using tangible substance. It says, many detractors who claim to dislike science turn out upon closer examination to be opposed instead, and quite often reasonably to uses of particular technologies that are harmful to people and the environment. And they keep trying to say, oh, we're science deniers and stuff like that. No, we're not science deniers, because if we were science deniers, we'd be denying technology and we'd be denying our house and our cars and everything else. We're not denying science. We're all for science. We're just against pseudoscience. We're against scientism, not science. We're all for science. Applied science, natural science. Using tangible substance where you can show your claim practically. Pseudoscientists commonly use a number of rhetorical ploys to advance their cause. Well, we see that a hell of a lot. All these rhetorical ploys to advance their cause. All these logical fallacies, sophist arguments, gish galloping, NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, all the other stuff that they're using, all the other rhetorical ploys and stuff like that. Yeah, we see it a lot from the heliocentric model. Yeah, he says these sales gambits are well known to social psychologists who specialise in persuasion techniques. So that's why they do it all, because they're trying to persuade people not to look into the science behind the globe Earth and try and, like, what they call it, rip it apart, basically, trying to get people to stick with the globe Earth and the heliocentric model. by using these techniques, persuasion techniques. The manipulative ways in which pseudoscientists apply them were recently dissected in an informative article by Anthony Pratkanis, How to Sell a Pseudoscience. Here you go. Like I said, I'm going to leave a link to this. I think some examples of pseudoscience. It's quite a good thing. There's a few things that are a bit I wouldn't agree with in here, but pseudoscience in biology, pseudoscience in chemistry, pseudoscience in physics. There is some good stuff in here. I might do another video on another part of this in later. Pseudoscience in medicine. There is some good stuff, but some of the stuff I don't agree with. But it's just to give you a basic understanding of what pseudoscience is and what science actually is. Like I said, science doesn't belong to an institution or anything like that. It belongs to the individual. It's 50 pages. I'm not going to go through it all. I'll do another one later. Thank you.